I'm going to lead us into our meditation with the words of Hebrews that inspired a poem of hope by Reverend Steve Garnaas-Holmes that I shared last year. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Hope is not optimism, not wishing, not a bet on the future, but trust in what is already present, unseen. I hope in the sunrise because the earth is already turning. My faith is not that God will intervene and make things better or fix problems. My faith is that love is at work. I trust in hidden love even as injustice runs loose. I believe in our oneness even as war and racism wound us. I know our belovedness even as we assault each other, even though we damage our earth. Though the violent rage and the rich oppress the poor, still this world is born of goodness. And grace flourishes even in bad places. And love holds us in aching but untiring arms, even when the way is not well lit. I live in hope. So let your body come into this moment held in the arms of love, inviting any places where your body may be holding tension to just soften, to settle in as you breathe in and out the ocean of your breath. And feel yourself supported. Notice where your body rests, where you are seated. You might close your eyes if that feels safe and comfortable, or simply let your gaze soften. Maybe focusing on the light of the candles here in the front. And feel the rhythm of your breath, the ebb and flow of your breath in and out. And now calling to mind or heart again that situation, that relationship in your own life or the bigger world that cries out for transformation. See it just as it is in this moment. And picture you are holding it gently in your left hand. So let your left hand rest open in front of you or on your lap, but just let it rest gently, holding that which calls to your heart for transformation. And now gently hold your left hand cupped in your right hand. And feel your concerns held in the untiring arms of love. Bring your awareness to that left hand as you breathe in and out, sensing all that troubles your heart, held in the blessing of love. Bring your awareness to your right hand as you continue gently breathing in and out, holding your concerns lightly in love. Breathe hope and faith that love is healing all things, even if you cannot yet see how. Our fears held in love, our sorrows held in love, our joys held in love. And if you would like to bring your palms together, letting your hands be in prayer position in front of your heart. Make a gesture now of opening your hands, laying down all that is and all that will be, laying it at the altar of love. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. And taking a deeper breath in and out, come back fully into this room, into the space that you're in. Thanks, Raj. Mis estimados, my friends, do not lose heart. We were made for these times. I have heard so many recently who are deeply and properly bewildered. Ours is a time of almost daily astonishment and often righteous rage over the latest degradations of what matters most. You are right in your assessment. Yet I urge you, gentle you, ask you to please not spend your spirits dry by bewailing these difficult times. Especially, do not lose hope. Most particularly because the fact is that we were made for these times. Yes, for years we have been learning, practicing, been in training for, and just waiting to meet on this exact plane of engagement. Those words were written not yesterday, but in 2001 by the poet and writer Clarissa Pinkola Estes in a letter to a young activist during troubled times. We were made for times like these. Here is Psalm 42. As a deer longs for flowing streams, oh, my soul longs for you, O God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. When shall I come and behold the face of God? My tears have been my food day and night, while people say to me continually, where is your God? Why are you cast down, O my soul, and why are you disquieted within me? Hope in God, for I shall again give praise, my help and my God. Deep calls to deep. All the thunder of your torrents, all the waves and your billows have gone over me. By day the Lord commands God's steadfast love, and at night God's song is with me. A prayer to the God of my life. I say to God, my rock, why have you forgotten me? Why must I walk mournfully because the enemy oppresses me? As with a deadly wound in my body, my adversaries taunt me, while they say continually, where is your God? Why are you cast down, O my soul? And why are you disquieted within me? Hope in God, for I shall again praise the Holy One, my help and my God. It was ever thus. Linking the lamenting hope and faith of Psalm 42 with the words of Clarissa Estes written in 2001, with the laments of my heart today, calms my fears of the unknown, even if only for a moment, and brings me back to the deeper truth that love bears all things. Love bears all things. Scripture scholar Walter Brueggemann looks back into the depth of Hebrew scriptures, connecting us now with those ancient texts that remind us hope is a trust in what God has done and will do, in spite of evidence to the contrary. Hope in gospel faith is not just a vague feeling that things will work out, for it is evident that things will not just work out. Rather, hope is the conviction against a great deal of data that God is tenacious and persistent in overcoming the deathliness of the world, that God intends joy and peace. What does it mean to be a people of hope and faith when all around us we see evidence, data, that things are not just working out okay? It means that we must look with the eyes of our hearts of faith to see the deeper evidence that God is tenacious and persistent. And yet God persisted. In this season of Advent, the rhythms of nature herself teach us about darkness and light. The shorter days, the longer nights, I can never quite believe that it's pitch black by 4:30. I feel like bedtime should be at 7. But that rhythm teaches us the rhythm of our lives. There is no blooming of spring. There is no greening of summer. There is no harvest of winter, of autumn, without this quiet of winter. And in our own lives, in my own life, there are times that I feel the rhythm of that in a whole week. A sense of the deep darkness that gives light to a moment of hope, a sense of rebirth, fullness of greening inside, and then whoa, back to darkness. We are gifted with those rhythms of nature here in this part of the world that echo with the rituals that we have created over time, over eons, since the psalmist wrote those beautiful words of lament and hope. Our deep roots are woven with hope, with trust, with faith. Another little snippet that I have shared often as I have talked about hope a fair number of times here at Unity, must be because I need the reminder so often. This reminder is actually written on a little scrap of paper in pink ink on my refrigerator, so I look at it every day. Hope, like every virtue, is a choice that becomes a practice, that becomes spiritual muscle memory. How are your muscles doing? Every virtue, compassion, generosity, trust, faith. They are choices we make despite the evidence to the contrary that we are held in love. Optimism might say things are going to work out okay, and that's maybe a building block of hope. But choosing hope is choosing to remember that God is persistent and tenacious, and therefore so are we. Because as God shows up as us, despite evidence to the contrary, even when we feel at our lowest, we are held in the untiring arms of love. So how are you choosing hope How are you looking clear-eyed at what is alive for you in your life this moment as it is? Just because the whole world is singing jingle bells doesn't mean our hearts are lightened with jingle bells. And it doesn't mean that just because there is hard moments in our lives that we stay in despair all of the time. That is the gift of holding all in love. That the equilibrium, the equanimity, the hope and faith that anchors us holds us strong and steady no matter what the circumstances of our lives are, the joys and sorrows, the ebbs and flows, the simple moments of pleasure and grace-filled times with friends, with our families. We are held in love. And when we're able to see clear-eyed what our lives hold in this moment, when we're able to see those situations that call out to our hearts for transformation, when we can look at them clear-eyed with the eyes of our hearts of faith, then we are love. We bring our love to bear on those situations as we are able. We're able to make one step out of our fear into love and trust. We're able to stop worrying about, can we control outcomes? Can we fix all of those things we long to transform? And we just say yes to this right in front of us. This I can say yes to. I can look in the eyes of a friend and say, yes, I hold you in love. I sit with you in the presence of God within you and God within me. And that's what I can do. That's what we can do. We practice our muscles of our values, of our virtues, by saying yes. By finding those moments always, I think I must say this every week, the inside job. I must commit to my practice of being in the presence, of feeling the presence of God within, connecting to that presence, and acting from that presence in those small ways, in those small moments of my life, and in the ways that sometimes ask me to dig deep, to love beyond what is comfortable, to love beyond what is easy and safe. We are people of hope and faith. And we do that inner work, and we show up together to nourish the soil for each other and with each other. I don't know any other way. Growing a sense of deep community. That is our job. That is our belief. That is our practice. That is our gift. And as we grow that depth here together, we then radiate that love in all of the circles that circle our hearts. So here in this space, take a moment to look around and make eye contact with one of these beloveds here in this room, or someone you have not yet met, a soon to become a beloved. This gift is ours. We claim it. We affirm it, we claim it. The gift of hope that builds a vigorous faith. A gift that helps us say, yes, we will walk with hope and faith. We will cultivate compassion. We will work for justice and mercy. With hope and faith, we say yes to awakening to our own magnificence, and we bear God's peace and light to the world. And so it is. Amen.